CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
Today we'll be discussing about another popular ragam in the Carnatic music, which is Begada. Begada is a Vakra raga in the sense that the Arohana here is Vakra and the Avarohana is Sampurna. It is supposed to be a Janya of the 29th Melagartha Shankaravarnam. Let us look at the Arohana Arohana first. Sagari Gama Pada Pasa Sanida Pama Garisa. But the distinctness of this ragam is that though we say that the Kakali Nishadam is a part of it, we see that the Kaisiki Nishadam and Kakali Nishadam both occur in this ragam in a very predominant manner. In fact, we see that sometimes the Kaisiki Nishadam itself is more dominant in many phrases. So that way we see that there is a very unique ragam where the Bhashanga note takes a very, very powerful place in many contexts and phrases here. And if we look at the ragam and its origin, we see that it is not a very old ragam, I would say, in the sense that it was definitely there in the pre-Trinity period. That is, we see that in the compositions of Annamacharya, Purandaradasar, a padam of Kshetragya, and also in a composition of Sri Margadarshi Shesha Iyengar, we see a mention of this ragam Begada. And of course, after the coming in of the Trinity, Tyagarajar, Dikshadhar and Shyama Sastri, all of them composed in Begada and gave it that exalted status. So when the Trinity actually compose, and all the three of them actually compose in one ragam, then that ragam actually shines out very distinctly, and also it attains a distinct character for itself. Now coming back to the two phrases, that is the two Vakra phrases which define the ragam actually. In the Arohanam you see there are two distinct Vakratva happening, like Sagari Gama Pada Pasa. So where Sagari Ga is one Vakra phrase, Pada Pasa another Vakra phrase. So these two together give that distinctness to Begada as such. And now coming to the compositions and how do they approach this ragam. You see that in phrases how do they occur, like Padani da pa, where the smaller nishadam comes, Sani da pa, Gama pada pa, Sani da pa, Padani da pa. Again we also see that the Madhyama and Nishadam with their distinct kind of gamakas, again that's also another character of the ragam, like Da Pa Ma. Though it's a Shuddha Madhyama, we see that it is oscillated very heavily, almost lying on the Pa, you would have seen. Look at it again. Da Pa Ma Gari Sagari Gama. So it's almost actually resting on the Pa. Though you know that Shuddha Madhyama is Ma, that kind of a Ma will never come in Begada. Always it is oscillated with a heavy gamakam. Like for example in the phrases Sagari Gama Pada Pa Ma Gari Gama Padani da Pa Ma Gari Sagari Gama Pada Pa Sani da Pa Padani da Pa Ma Gari Sagari Gama. Similarly, the Nishadam also you see how it is oscillated. Ni da pa, sa ni da pa, sa ni re sa, re ni da pa. So we also see that the Nishadam and the Madhyamam actually get different colors according to the context in which they are used. Now what are the compositions? Of course there are many compositions, a few popular ones we will just make a mention. The Varnam of Veena Kupa here, where you see that In fact, a lot of very distinct kind of rare kind of phrases and swara combinations you can see in this Varnam. Then Tyagaraja, of course, has composed many compositions like Lokavana Chatura or Nado Pasana or Ni Padapam Kachamula, or a small composition in Deshadi Talam. It's a rare composition but brings out Begada very well, like Tanavari Tanabu Leda Tanavari Tanabu Leda Tanavari Tanamu Leda Tara Kadipa Nanavada. Typically, the kind of phrases which are found in Begada are seen in this Kriti. Of course, Dikshadhar has also composed a few. The popular one you can just recall. Vallabha, that Ga, Saga, that Ga is very powerful here. Vallabha Nayakasya Bhakto Bhavagabi Vanchitartadayakasya Varamushika Vaganasya Vallabha Nayakasya Bhakto Bhavagami. Or a composition of Papanasam Sivan. Bhuvan, that also again Ga, it starts. Bhuvaneshwari Padamunirend Bhujai Maname Sada Bhuvaneshwari Padamunirend Bhujai Maname Sada Bhuvaneshwari. If you look at the evolution of this ragam, of course, we see that the Sangrah Chudamani, there itself, that's probably the one, because we also see that a lot of changes have taken place in the Lakshana of this ragam. And Sarigama has also been there at one time. Now we have only the Vakra combination. At one time Sarigama also seen in one or two compositions. So after that we see that Sangrah Chudamani, what is available in that is the present version. And Sangeetha Sampradaya Pradarshini, for us, it's a treasure trove always in terms of Rajalakshmi or whatever we want to know about music. I think it's one of the greatest, I would say, treasure handed down to us by Subbarama Dikshadhar. So where he traces the actually Lakshana of Begada over 3 centuries, that is the 17th, 18th and 19th century. And we also see that here, interestingly, this ragam has been expounded very expansively also by some musicians. And there is also a reference here of Patnam Subramanya Iyer, who was said to be adept in singing Begada. And history tells us that he sang it for 8 hours. I don't know how he sang for 8 hours without repetition, that I really don't know. But in the historical records, we have the fact that he sang this ragam for 8 hours. And his proficiency was that is recognized by giving him the title itself as Begada Subramanya Iyer. Thus we see that Begada is a very, very interesting raga. Though it is not very, very old, through the ages, that is the last few centuries, we see that it has crystallized itself and got a distinct character for itself. And of course, the compositions of the Trinity as well as the other composers have given it a concrete form as we see it today.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.